Hi everyone, welcome to ForceCenter. Today we are going to be watching A New Hope. I'm Jennifer Landa.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And I'm Ken Knapsack.
And we are here recording this because of our awesome patrons on Patreon. They made this possible, and we're going to be releasing it on the anniversary of A New Hope.
42 years ago, nearly to the day, right?
Yeah, or maybe, who knows, 97, if YouTube is still around and people are watching in the deep future.
That's true, and that's a great point, Joseph, because the question of which version you're watching is definitely a worthwhile question. And we
Absolutely.
are watching, what vintage did you bring for us this year?
I brought the vintage I bought last year, but it's the Blu-rays. It's the last time that Lucas touched them, the movies, before he handed everything off to Disney. So they are the final vision of Lucas.
The final vision, so that's about circa 2011?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. Yeah,
Okay.
2011, so before he sold in 2012. And yeah, I mean, we could watch 8 different versions of A New Hope and do commentary, 1,000 different versions.
Yeah.
We could stop one, put in another, get all the different Han and Greedo shootings that you want, but this is just the most recent.
The most recent. So
Yeah.
if you have that version, you can sync it up. I know there's always a question of, syncing it up. And, I'm not a movie commentary expert. Here's the deal. We've got it in there. It's pressed. The pause button's pressed. It's at 0000. The 20th Century Fox logo is about to show up. And there you can go. All right.
This is the angry dad late on Sunday afternoon
Yes.
version of movie commentary.
We're watching the Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's all you got to worry about.
Look at our beards.
But that's where we're at. And I think if, thanks to our Patreon supporters, I think it's time to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Press and play. And we're off and running.
And now 2 hours of silence as we watch the film.
Surprise.
There's a difference between a watch along and a talk along.
Right.
Never quite know what to do or say. It's never really celebrated the new Lucasfilm logos that came along in the 90s.
I like it.
Yeah. A long time ago. So I think when I watch A New Hope these days, the thing that I get distracted by in a good way is just how much this is one film that was made in 1977 and how much radiates out from it, both big and small, how much matches from newer, later storytelling, and how much is just like those.
Keep with the established hairstyles.
Yeah.
But
and
not
then
make it too kitschy.
Which was the style of the time.
Right.
Yeah. I like the idea that maybe mustaches were a form of protest, of rebellion against the Empire.
Yes, like baseball players in the early 70s. The opening crawl. Now, my memory doesn't always serve me right. John Milius helped Lucas with this. I know a lot of people have their hands on it.
I believe that is correct. But I mean, the importance of how short and succinct it is, while still really capturing that pulp vibe, that adventure serial vibe, is really powerful.
And just a great way to set the tone for your movie.
Yeah. And also just kind of put it in time versus how we watch it now. When you might buy this movie from Apple, but if you went and saw this movie in the theater in 1977, you probably would have had a more context for Saturday afternoon adventure serial.
Absolutely.
True. Trivia question. How many moons?
Oh, boy.
Now, they've added the moon closer, right, in the forefront there. That wasn't 77.
If this whole thing is going to be a trivia quiz about all the different versions of the editions, I would have studied, because I remember the changes that mattered to me when they came out. But there are so many different versions that I don't have them all memorized myself.
My dad said that when he first saw this in 1977, that opening shot with the destroyer going overhead, he's like, it just felt like something they had never seen before. It just felt like infinity kept going and going and going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even remember that, and I was barely sentient when I saw this movie in the theater a year after it came out, and I still remember seeing things on the television that were like, oh, that's what science fiction looks like, and being like, oh, it doesn't anymore.
It's changed. Love the sensible vests and cargo pants worn by the Alderaanian security forces.
Yeah. I remember through most of my teen years, the only thing I could think about in this scene is that there wasn't an action figure in the original Kenner line of the Rebel Commando.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Rebel Soldier.
We had to wait to the mid-90s to have that corrected, right?
Yeah.
And I think the team at Kenner did an amazing job at that, and no Tarkin.
Come on, everybody. I've always liked the look on that guy's face where he's like, all right, this is serious. This is it.
And I tell you, I was convinced for a part of my childhood that was like Han Solo's cousin.
Really? Why?
I just had that. It was almost like it was staring into the future of what Harrison Ford would look like.
It was just
He kinda
fanfic?
does look like Harrison
Yeah, I just
Ford.
was like, I think that's his cousin. This is to a young kid watching this. Speaking for myself here, this is kind of terrifying.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, I think like that look on that guy's face does emotionally sell it of this isn't going to go well, but we're going to try our best. And you immediately see it really doesn't go well for them.
Right.
It doesn't go well. Always love the towels. Is that a towel?
I think we're going to have to change this to a questionary rather than a commentary.
Look, that's comedy, kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jennifer, how do you feel about that? Is that comedy? Do you think that's a sign that the droids are special and must survive? Did they walk across that field of blaster fire?
Right. I don't know, but this shot used to terrify me as a kid.
Yeah.
Just
I know
what a presence.
he's tall and it's prowess, but he always looked a little squat to me
Oh, really?
in that scene. He's still tall and terrified, but
Yeah.
but it was,
Like he's
compared to other shots.
Yeah, dipping down to get in there.
Now, as a kid growing up with a Commodore 64, I really thought she was putting a big floppy disk in there.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and I like that it is somehow. I like how much they did the passing of information in Rogue One, so it all. Here's the thing she's going to put in R2.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah,
we know what that looks
the most recent time I watched this, it was so exciting. My wife Sarah turned to me and was like, oh, "We saw that. we were there. The Spice Mines of Kessel."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always loved that music. I think that's sort of an underrated part of Williams' score. Just dun, 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 dun.
And the crunching sound on the throat always was, which I extra like because now you can imagine he's got his hand on his throat, but he's using the force to actually crush the windpipe.
Right.
If you want to do a little head cannon. In some ways, that is the angriest delivery that Vader ever has for being a master of anger, master of the dark side.
It's classy. His
Classy
violence that he uses in this film is very classy.
Yeah.
Not like the Rogue One Vader that we see.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
brutal.
You're right. He's not a big shouter.
No.
He's not a big shouter. It's one of the only shots of Leia's boots.
That's what I was just thinking. Her boots look really cool.
I got distracted by the stormtrooper butt, clearly taking up half the frame that I really never focused on.
Whistle bleep bleep is what the subtitles just told us, and I think that needs to be a t-shirt.
Whistle bleep bleep. Yes, we have it in canon that R2 likes to swear, and now these subtitles are really supporting that.
Growing up, did you guys ever, watching like that scene, or later on what we're going to see in Tatooine when 3PO and R2 are going back, did you ever like really wonder what R2 was saying, or did you just kind of accept that? You know, I never stopped and thought about it.
Yeah, I don't think I actually reasoned through it as a child. I've just felt like the subtext of what he said was always so clear from 3PO's responses.
Right.
And maybe it was, I have one older brother, 3 years old, and there's definitely that sibling vibe of like, I heard what you said, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Here we go.
Every time I see this scene, I think about the audition tapes that they've shown us of the different actresses who auditioned using the same material.
Yeah.
What's her name from Laverne and Shirley?
Cindy
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, they're all great. But there is something about Carrie Fisher that she just was able to embody that royalty, perhaps because she was Debbie Reynolds' daughter, but also that strength, the inner strength that's necessary.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely that the combination of royalty and humor, but she gets teased a little bit, for going back and forth between the British accent. And she talks about how, I was in school recently in London.
Yes.
And I honestly think a little bit of that of almost like, I'm going to bring a slight, regal Shakespearean theater vibe to Leia.
Yep.
Helps communicate that strength in being part of a proper society.
Right.
And not mention you're on a London-based set. You've got Peter Cushing there, Alec Guinness.
Right.
I might, too, be like, yes, I'm doing a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Do you think does that mean that guy goes to Tatooine? Do you think he's down there?
That guy?
Yeah.
He's just drinking?
To it personally, Commander.
I will personally send some stormtroopers. So, Jennifer, when you're watching this first film, we now start so much. We have that intro to Leia, that intro to Vader, but now we're with R2 and 3PO for a while. Mm-hmm. Do you think that helps sell Lucas's idea that he's floated that the whole Skywalker saga can be from their perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's definitely mentioned it, saying that they are meant to be not protagonists, but the storytellers, and we're supposed to follow them as the audience.
Yeah,
and I think it's also helpful for little children. I feel like they can really, in some ways, identify with these droids, or I don't know, maybe not identify, but they get drawn in.
Yeah, it does make them just great machines for exposition, since they're in the thick of it. R2 knows what's going on, but he's whistling and beeping. He's swearing up a storm. And 3PO's in the middle of it, but is kind of ignorant, which allows him to constantly ask everyone around him what's going on, and then give us, the audience, exposition.
Yeah.
A little better than Rick O'Lee, but but to that point, even Joseph, I mean, you're right. This is very much not only their point of view, but their perspective on the story too.
Yeah,
their confusion is definitely our confusion at this point. So great storytelling technique that I know has been used in a lot of other places. So, but it leads me to believe that a lot of it's from their perspective. Yeah,
it works great emotionally. To make you feel like you can relate to 3PO because you're kind of lost in this epic adventure. But then also, if he understood everything, all the dynamics that were going on the Tantive 4 and the stakes of the plans and all that, he could just tell Luke.
Right.
And because he doesn't, it gets us to get all of the various interactions that we're going to get between Luke and Obi-Wan. And
right. Or if, R2 had just said, hey, how you doing? Your dad's up there chasing us.
He's been in bad mood for about 2 decades.
Yeah. Good. I need you to go meet Obi-Wan. Who's Obi-Wan? He's been calling himself Ben for a while. But.
The great dragon skeleton, it was always one of the things that just fired my imagination of what beast is this?
Right.
There's a great shot taken from this scene that's in the book I used to read as a kid, the picture book that I used to check out from my school library that just always been in my memory of that dragon skull or dragon skeleton.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to go to the library and they'd show us A New Hope and the original King Kong. And the great dragon seemed like that beast is from King Kong, but it died on Tatooine.
We could never really go back to 77 to watch this for the first time and see it again for the first time in truth. But I can only imagine if you're watching this in theater, and you've just seen and then now you're seeing these guys with the red eyes, what am I watching?
Yeah.
What world are we in?
What I think is so fascinating is the pacing of this sequence. It's definitely of that time period. You would not get this kind of slow-moving pacing in a movie nowadays. But it still holds up. My daughter watched this sequence, and she's only 3, and she loved it.
Yeah.
She was just like, it built the suspense. What's going to happen?
Well, yeah, because it is the real, you immediately identify with the characters and then worry about them. So it pulls you in instead of dumping a bunch of information immediately.
Exactly.
And I think especially at the time, I mean, this was breakneck compared to other science fiction, like 2001 of God, hold a shot for a Jawa for a second.
Right.
Come on, why are you cutting so much? And obviously the film does pick up a pace. But I like the idea that of the time too is this is so much more alien and bizarre that in order to really feel like it's real, spending a little bit more time with it.
It does. It does give it more of a realistic, almost like documentary style.
Yeah.
Just in that sequence in particular.
And also, it's like, it's not, I mean, yes, the movie uses a ton of archetypes, but like this, for example, of like, oh, well, a droid has secret plans to a battle station and then some short scavengers are going to steal it. Like, that's like, yeah, every fantasy story does. Like, this is much more in that sort of anthropological world building that Lucas wanted to do. So taking your time to get used to it is awesome.
Right.
From a fan of vehicles perspective, Sandcrawler, I think underrated vehicle in Star Wars.
Man, yeah. I mean, Star Wars has a lot of great sort of sharp angles, triangular shapes, and Sandcrawler's right up there of the best sharp shapes.
I used to always daydream before the books with the intersections and the maps and the blueprints. I used to always daydream, what is the ship like? What's in that crawler?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a lounge? Sleeping area?
Yeah, what are the Jawa common areas like? Or is the whole ship like this?
Mm-hmm.
Is this just like
I know,
space
I had that
hoarders?
Thought. Yeah, I had that thought. Like, oh, it seems messy. My mother ran a very tight ship around our house. I'm like, no, who's dusting on the weekends? It's my chore.
Now, Jennifer, I know that you are got drawn into Star Wars in particular by Return of the Jedi with all of the characters and the creatures. Do you feel that? What level of affinity do you feel to all these droids?
I'm looking at the Gonk droid, the power droid, and it's freaking adorable. And then I think about the costume that I made based on that, and it was not that comfortable. But you could make it work. But it was funny going to Home Depot and finding all these bits and pieces. And it's kind of like what they did in 1977 or 75 because they didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
You know, what can we use? What little greeblies can we stick on these droids to make it seem like it's lived in but of another world?
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine what's in there. They've got that nice sort of bay window there in the middle.
Yeah. Right.
There's a good old dewback.
Yeah, I remember when they added that.
Recent competitor on Databank Brawl.
That is correct. Did great.
I guess we never did really see them ride dewback, but now we get to see him in action, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I like hearing him moan. What part of R2 or 3PO is that?
Like, where do they build Sandcrawler? Where did the Jawas buy them?
That's a rough feat
Or did they
to
just?
build that.
Yeah, did they manage to steal a fleet of them from someone? Yeah, that's great. Some great questions here on our questionnaire.
I'm sure there's a Legends book, the Jawas and the Sandcrawlers, but
yeah. I think there is also just something about these early scenes in A New Hope where this Sandcrawler is so just rusty and lived in that, you know, it speaks to you, I think even kids of just like, it's this deep aesthetic that looks real and cool.
Right.
Very real.
Right.
Even how dirty 3PO is. I mean, he just he needs to be shined up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and looks like some ooze coming out of him.
Exactly, yeah, all that.
Wipe yourself, 3PO.
Droid ooze.
Wed Treadwell.
Yes. Wed Treadwell, one of the more functional droids, actually. That one makes sense to me. I see what he's capable of. That little June bug, roly-poly little droid there, not so much.
Yeah, I think somebody asked me, like, okay, Star Wars would make more sense to me if every droid was the Wed Treadwell. Just give him a bunch of arms to do things. But yeah, this is a fantastic variety because it could have just been a bunch of 3POs in different colors.
Seeing this reminds me of some of the kids that I've seen cosplaying at Celebration and Comic-Con as Jawas. It's a great kid's costume.
Oh, yeah.
Quick shout out to Maude Garrett, who still does the best Aunt Beru yelling Luke I've ever heard.
That's so great. That caked on steaming mess.
Is that a cable? Oh, it is a cable going. Okay. Joel Edgerton in 20 years has not treated you well in the desert.
Yeah, the Tatooine is brutal. Not a good place if you want to be an Instagram star.
But it makes sense, right? I got to say that those two suns bearing down on you for 20 years probably not going to treat you too well.
Absolutely. And if he's not getting a lot of exercise, if there's not a lot to do, he's just kind of climbing those stairs every morning and checking some evaporators.
We don't know the calorie count of blue milk.
Shutting up, sir, has always been one of my favorite 3PO lines, right?
100% right.
And here it comes. Thank you, Mark Hamill. Perfect delivery for somebody who doesn't want to be doing their chores, in my opinion.
I've said things just like that, not even recently.
Earlier today.
Earlier today with my mom.
I don't want to do social media to promote the podcast. It's amazing how much they make you feel for R2. Even in that little wobble, it just feels so... You feel the, I don't want to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
the whack, too. It's like it's such a great mix of utterly alien fantasy, the new versus the old of just like, hey, you're squabbling with a little used car sales person thing. And the first time Luke gets tired of hearing 3PO talk, right there. How did you guys ever feel about the Lars homestead? Did you ever have a feeling of like, I want to live there, or did it always feel like a melancholy place to be?
That's a great question. I was fascinated because then you find out pretty young that it's like a quote real place, right? You can go there. So I was like, do people live there? Do they go down? And I had a little fascination with the idea of living there.
Okay. Jennifer, did you relate to this stuff? This sort of the longing to leave your home and go out and have adventure?
Oh yeah, what kid can't relate to that? I think Mark Hamill's performance is just so perfect. And then to see how he evolves in Jedi, which is one that I saw first, it's like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, to see that like
he's grown up.
This calm Jedi master was this sort of slightly petulant, understandably frustrated, fed up kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Wink, wink.
So this is interesting to figure out how many battles 3PO has actually been in to go down the list of modern canon. See if he was exaggerating there.
And clearly, he's got some memory issues with but
absolutely.
Does he remember all the Clone Wars stuff? Does he remember?
Yes, several. I think he could be flashing back to like, oh yeah, I think one time my head was replaced with another droid, but that might just be a nightmare I had.
Yeah, vague memories. Here we go. Used so well in Last Jedi.
Yeah. It's so interesting to think, like, writing advice is, like, don't ever try to write something iconic. Just write what the story needs. And then to see so many moments in this that have become iconic.
That is iconic.
Yeah, I mean, that is iconic, right? And is it iconic? And I think some moments just become favorites because we love them and we've seen this movie a million times.
Right.
But some of them are, there's something, like, true and deep that speaks to us.
Yeah.
And like, what do you think it is for Help Me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, You're My Only Hope, and that little hologram, that bend over, that's so affecting?
I think for me, it was a really large opening of the history of this. So even at 7, you're like, what are the Clone Wars? You're starting to learn all these things.
Yeah.
And so that pulled me into that. And then, there's a vulnerability to what she's saying. Later on, Leia's tough as nails and, getting the garbage chute and stuff. But in that moment, it's not just like, to me, rescue me. It's just like, I need help. And we all need help at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And desperation, but not desperation. It's coming from a place of strength, which I think is she's so calm, but that the situation is dire.
Right.
Yeah. That she truly, it's like a statement of fact, just like simply, I truly need your help.
Yes.
Which is so great. I've been thinking a lot about the Phantom Menace line where Anakin tells Shmi that you always say the biggest problem in the universe is no one helps one another.
Yeah.
And it just echoes through all of Star Wars. And when you think of that, like, here's Leia just really saying, like, hey, I know you're in hiding.
Right.
Right.
You got these powers, though, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, we need you.
We need you, yeah.
We need someone.
And then you combine that with the costume and the hair and the image of the hologram, which was very exciting as a kid seeing that. And it just becomes,
You're right.
becomes iconic.
Again, new meeting old of like the oldest story in the book, a princess who needs help. And then totally reframed in every way.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's not something that was added later or your art interpretation. Like that, Lucas baked that in there.
Yeah.
What I love about this scene, there's so much, but the cups that they're using for the blue milk, it was, like Tupperware essentially in the 70s.
Big around my house.
Yeah. And I remember seeing those types of cups in our home, and I found some on Etsy that looked pretty darn similar to it.
That's so great.
But again, they did not have the budget, so they just had to use what they had.
Attended a few Tupperware parties in the day in the late 70s as a kid.
Yeah. So. I want to give a TED talk on meaningful looks and then just show this scene. There's so all of their meaningful looks are so great and so rich.
Yeah.
Southridge. I missed that question once.
Oh,
I'll never forget it.
We've already passed at least one question I missed recently. Old Dangier.
Oh, yeah. And Alex did too. He just did a Star Wars Explained video about the character, so that's good.
Yeah, he tagged me.
Yeah. To remind you of the pain.
Yes, go watch the Star Wars Schmodown, and you'll be all caught up on all this.
Love this scene though because man, this is speaking to the inner teenager in all of us, and
yeah, it spoke to the inner teenager before I was a teenager, and then when I was an actual teenager, it truly spoke to me because, like I said, I had an older brother, and my parents were a little like, "You guys, why don't you just stay at home? That'd be great," And this scene started to be very real for me.
Started to. Like, wait a minute, no, I want to join the Imperial Academy.
Look, I don't want anything bad to happen to you guys, but I want to leave home.
Aunt Beru is such a great maternal figure. You can see in just the few lines that she has and the looks that she gives how much she really cares and loves Luke.
That kindness and that idea, of that very Jedi idea of like, you can't change, you have to let it go. This is the truth of who he is.
Right. And she's really on his side. She's his ally.
What, speaking of iconic moments.
The music. Here we go.
Yeah.
If I hear this randomly wherever I am, it's like a swelling that happens within me.
Well, I love
absolutely
in all the trailers for new stuff now. The updated version of that strain of the song it just gets me every time.
And I think that scene would have been powerful with just good music. Instead, it has one of the best bits of music ever. But it does. It just solidifies this entire story of like, I need to be out there.
Right.
And if Lucas had gone with the music of the day, it would have been something different.
Oh, my.
A little disco sting.
Yes.
Space boy, look into the suns.
It would have been like the Shaft theme with Skywalker.
Mecco did some great disco versions of some of the themes.
Yeah. And I even like that, even though all the technology is really advanced, like on his macro binoculars there, still got the fuzz.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever clean and neat.
Phil Brown is Uncle Owen. I love that you said that, Joseph, about the TED Talk and the meaningful looks. Like, what a little, great little guest spot.
Yeah.
That becomes important in Star Wars. We need these type of characters.
Yeah. Yeah, the people who are kind of just playing it safe and saying it's better to just not get involved.
Just the looks and the meanings. And what a stylish jean jacket. She's in style again now.
I know.
She really is.
She is.
Yeah, she's been kind of shopping at the thrift shop and put together a nice ensemble, right?
That stew does not look good.
Yeah, is she cooking like super large root stew?
Yeah. Not fine culinary choices, maybe.
My biggest regret is not buying that land speeder that they had at Toys R Us.
The Black Series?
It was one that kids could get in, but I was able to fit in it.
Oh, and we're talking about like a year ago, right?
Yeah, it was like before
6 months
Toys R
ago.
Us
Okay.
closed, and I was like, I'll come back.
Yeah.
I was a dummy.
I'm sure I've talked about it before, but one of the great moments of my childhood at the San Diego Zoo and Wildlife Preserve, where they're like, this elephant was in Star Wars as a bantha, and it was like my first celebrity sighting. I was like 8 or 9.
That's exciting.
Did you try to take a photo?
No, because it would have been like grab Dad's big old 1968 Nikon. But I remember telling kids at school, I saw the elephant in Star Wars.
Yeah, and I love that his reaction to Sand People. Let's go look, because it really does set up his journey of like pining for adventure and being a little cocky and risky.
Mm-hmm. It's also very kid-like.
Yeah.
Of course, the kid's going to want to go look.
Yeah. And the victory of Marsha Lucas right there, right?
Yes.
To edit it, so he's going back and forth.
Right.
Rocking it, yeah.
And here I think we're coming up on a big change for this edition.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we might just want to brace ourselves. Beep whistle. Okay. Any second now.
Here we go.
It's coming.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it is definitely a more frightening howl. You can definitely make yourself believe that no, Obi-Wan did not just make that with his throat. He used the Force somehow. That's a hell of a thing.
Look,
It's a lot.
I can understand Lucas going, I've never thought that the Krat Dragon call was human-like.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? He's the creator. He gets to make his choices.
I like it as a mysterious Force power. Oh, hello, Obi-Wan.
What a celeb appear. I just feel like people in the theater would like clap at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know who he is.
Right, yeah. He's so great in this.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, this whole section, all of the Obi-Wan meeting Luke, is the part that I enjoy rewatching in A New Hope the most because it is so connected to all the other storytelling.
I think, too, if you wanted to dig in and Lucas wrote this not knowing more stories were to come, Alec Guinness plays it in such a way that you could write a movie off of every look he makes.
Yes. And this was always powerful to me, even when I was a little kid, that look on his face.
That look.
Of like, okay.
It's like almost...
What are you thinking?
It was like shock mixed with, I don't want to say fear, but there was a look of like, his breath had been taken away.
Yeah. And I think exactly like you were saying, Ken, it is just Guinness is making the choice to play things with weight and give them meaning. But now in my own headcanon, I choose to take that as the moment where Obi-Wan says, okay, the will of the Force is spoken. It's time to... Luke is going to... I need to come out of hiding. Luke is going to move into his destiny.
Right.
Like, there's just too much at once. Here's Anakin's droids.
Yeah.
Here's Anakin's droid and Padme droid. And here's the kid, and he knows my real name. And
it's a lot.
It's the will of the Force. If this is the will of the Force speaking, it's not being subtle. And then in a few moments, he's going to like, oh, you're here because your dad is chasing your sister? I get it, will of the Force. It's time.
Right. That's good.
First limb removal in Star Wars.
That's right. Look, I hate wires. I hate setting it up, even this scene. I see 3PO's arms, and I can't, it causes me anxiety.
Just thinking about repairing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like watching Chewie and Empire. Anxiety. I want everything cordless. I want wireless. I want nothing like that.
I want a cordless. I just want the action figure where you can pull it apart and plug it back in.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can see by here he's already made the choice to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gandalf pipe action right there. Just leaning.
Yeah. Oh, shucks. Yeah, every one of these lines has such great weight. I mean, there's all those great videos on YouTube of cutting this together with actual footage. And
Right.
Yeah. Now, Maz has a similar.
yeah, I was just going to say that
Case,
it's
right?
it's
Yes.
very similar. That's a really nice touch. A little bit of Star Wars visual poetry there.
Is it the only time we see 3PO just decide to shut down, right?
Yeah, and I think it was just because it was uncomfortable for Anthony Daniels for the long scene.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that come back in canon. How about that for episode 9? 3PO shuts down just to shut down. Did you both have the typical, just as soon as you saw that, just like, I want that. I want to have that. I want that to be my destiny, to have a lightsaber.
Yeah. I mean, again, I saw Return of the Jedi first as remember, I did see New Hope first, but I don't remember that. But so by then I was ready for it. But the image of Luke with the lightsaber in Return of the Jedi is what inspired my love of Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
And I love that Lucas chose that. And we need swords. There's something primal and connects to the medieval fantasies and everything. We just need that. We need that.
Yeah. Always using a stick and pretending that was lightsaber. But then I would always be a little afraid if I thought someday we'll really get lightsabers in the future. And then I got scared. Oh no, I could really get hurt. I don't know if I trust myself with that laser sword.
A healthy relationship between fantasy and reality in your mind.
Love Obi-Wan's tattered rags here.
Yeah, it's so great. And we were talking about lightsabers over his great look of deciding what to tell Luke. I so love that there's that look of decision. It's benefited the storytelling so much.
Yeah.
I like how we all just naturally shut up to listen to the commanding voice of Leia.
The music plays.
It's really amazing. This whole scene is just packed with exposition for how the galaxy works, what a Jedi Knight and the Force is, the actual sort of mechanics that are going to move the plot of this particular film forward.
Yeah.
All of that, and it feels just bouncy and alive.
And a timeless scene.
Yeah, yeah, timeless scene. It's so interesting to me of how much he's like, nope, I'm trying to talk him into it. I've really decided now's the time. I've waited, 19 years and now I'm pushing for this. Did you ever want more perspective on what Luke understands about the Empire and why he hates it at that point?
Yeah, that's a fair, especially now, right? The what we know more now and the stories play out, like seeing Solo, seeing Rogue One. Like,
Yeah.
was it felt there on Tatooine? It's a far enough world.
Yeah.
Far enough away world. Maybe they don't, but
Does he go into, towns and hear, the deep space pilots talking about the horrors that befall them because of the Empire?
It just and it's interesting too that he'd say that because again, at this Biggs and Tank have joined the Empire in a way, right?
But maybe they said like we're just going to go see and maybe we'll leave. We'll see. Yeah.
Lauren stares on.
So great that he has been retconned into this. Jennifer, how do you interpret their cups?
Their cups, they look more like coffee mugs, like those stainless steel coffee mugs that we have nowadays.
They really do, yeah. And as we're recording this, Game of Thrones has just had a coffee cup and a plastic water bottle left in that the internet has made much about. Can you imagine if people were like, oh, you guys accidentally left 12 coffee cups?
I do love Tag's hair.
Now, why do you like it? Obviously, it's not great, but do you feel like it speaks to like why he's evil? Or
Yeah, I don't just short and chopped, very
like he's angry at his hair itself?
Yeah. Modi's got, he's got a simple 70s comb over.
Just like, I'm going to let this conflict play out.
Yeah.
And see how everybody responds.
They don't have a lot of respect for Vader.
They really don't.
Yeah. We've got a lot of great Vader storytelling in the comics. It might be interesting to have a real, like, right before A New Hope, what nobody else does, and I feel open and free to be mocking of it.
Exactly.
In an Imperial meeting.
Yeah. It's like Krennic goes out to the castle and is definitely afraid, but bold enough to kind of be like, but I still have a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I mean, he goes there to kind of answer for a mistake and is really hoping to speak to the Emperor. So it does seem like Vader is being treated like just middle management.
Right.
Yeah. Obi-Wan's wisdom, the wise old mentor. And this line. Too accurate for sand people.
Yeah.
Does it bug you that this does not pan out to be canonically accurate?
Look, the proof's right there.
Yeah.
The proof's right there.
These are crack shot stormtroopers. Yeah.
A strike team.
Yeah.
Home. Well, don't run at them or anything. But I think Obi-Wan knows. And Mita, now I think of the, Claudia Gray's piece from a certain point of view. Qui-Gon.
Yeah, where he's meditating here while waiting for Luke to come back and feeling like Luke's probably going to be okay, but maybe I should have run after him.
Yeah, it definitely works. There's some of those stories in that book we've discussed. They don't quite fit for me, but
some of them are.
I can never separate.
They really enrich. Yeah. All right.
All
right. Burning corpse talk, Jennifer.
Yeah, that's just sad. But I do want the faux action figures that they've mocked up.
Yeah. That upset me as a kid. It upset me.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's horrific and painful, and it's kind of more violent and awful than other things, and it also viscerally motivates Luke not only to leave, but also just he says, "I hated the Empire," maybe because of propaganda, but now he's experienced something truly awful, to motivate him.
Right.
It is amazing. I watched this on VHS for years, and it's amazing to see it on Blu-ray, where it's like, I always thought these walls were flat black.
Oh, yeah.
And nope, they are textured.
Yeah. Well, this is the part where it goes to commercial for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Close up on the syringe of the mind probe.
Go.
That's terrifying.
I've always loved that shot.
Like
when I was a teenager and kind of learning what a director does, the kind of choices they make, I started thinking of like that shot of like, oh wow, yeah, the way it slams down, it makes me feel pain and fear. Cool, good job, George Lucas.
Yeah.
The sad servos of 3PO right here.
Yeah.
He turns back.
And then funk.
Yep.
always lingered in my mind.
Yeah. Jennifer, how did you feel about Obi-Wan when you were a kid?
He was like a teacher in some sense. When you're a kid, you don't really understand the idea of like a mentor.
Right.
Or, but yeah, somebody or like a really sweet uncle that you could always trust. You could go and tell them your secrets and know that they won't tell your parents.
Yeah. So you naturally sense that Obi-Wan is possibly plays loose with the truth.
Yeah, right.
In a safe way.
Yeah, in a safe way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He always represents safety to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going a little wild until you meet him when you feel safe.
Yeah, he does a great job of setting up what a Jedi is with all of his sort of calm, patient, slow. In this shot from the original 97 special edition of Seeing More of Mos Eisley, I like that.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. And now I've run around in Battlefront 2 and played this a lot.
We missed Dash Rendar's ship there.
Oh, the Outrider.
We watched the Ronto. I love that. See that? Excuse me, R2 is just plopped up there like a sack of potatoes.
You know, there's so many things in this that were just like, we're just figuring it out. That if they put them in a movie now, if like you're torturing the main character with just an earth syringe, and there's no other place for the droid to go but just kind of flopped on his back, this is like, we'd be so much harder on the choices in A New Hope now.
Yes. You're so right. Yeah. I don't even want to waste too much time on it, but yeah. Oh, he uses mind powers. It's convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad the internet was not around back then.
But I mean, the significance of the mind power in this first movie is huge. To just go like, the Force isn't just moving things.
Yeah.
With your mind, it's really this strange power where you can do many things. And I even like thinking of the Force projection to Crate as just like the most massive, mind trick, Jedi mind trick ever.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, there's that two-pack.
Favorite scene.
I love that Kenobi kind of says that with a smile.
He does.
Because he's clearly hung out there at some point in his long stay.
Fun.
So this is your favorite scene, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah.
Because the creatures, right?
Yes, the creatures, and just knowing the history behind all of them and how a lot of them were just masks. That was all they had was just some masks. Or then they just put some prosthetic noses on people. A lot of these were recycled costumes from other movies.
Yeah, and other BBC productions.
Yeah. They did their best.
And I think that might be my favorite shot these days. The little Chadra fan going, I need alcohol with his little hand up.
And the modal nodes. I mean, this has been cemented in pop culture and has been parodied. And
does Boshek have tape on his uniform there?
Probably. And then there's just one guy kind of bald and unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got the peek into like how exotic the idea of this is with the Jawas and the Sand People and the Stormtroopers and their cool armor. But then this is like, okay, different ballgame.
Right.
I still get intimidated walking into bars I don't know, and I might have to say it's because of this scene.
Yeah.
I felt the same way growing up of like, how do you order at a bar? Because I didn't get any instruction from Star Wars.
Right. Well, we had to do it very wrong.
It seems a bad idea to just tug a shoulder and say, I want one of whatever you just poured because I don't know the names of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's Chewie.
Look, I can accept that right there they are going, and then Yoda left. And Chief took him with me, and
yeah, absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
Or just like Chewie being like, "Oh, are you a Jedi?"
Yeah.
First example to me of Jedi philosophy. I'm trying to defuse, but okay.
Well, you've
giving you a choice.
No choice. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a problem that costs his arm.
Yeah.
And the visual effects team, when they actually shot that, they
I always was kind of like macabrely fascinated with it when I was a kid, but now I appreciate it so much. Of like, we're showing you what a lightsaber does, so you understand when Obi-Wan gets hit. That's not what normally happens.
Right.
John Williams' contributions, of course, are amazing, but this we're kind of familiar, but it's from the past in being so Benny Goodman.
Benny Goodman, exactly.
Is this Richard?
Go out far and wide, but this really drives home the point to me that Alden did an amazing job.
He really did.
I see him in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see Harrison in him, and know not everyone has an opinion, but that's what I have.
Yeah. And he wants his name to ring out, you know, and he wants his accomplishments to be known.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just why, I don't know. Just go back to the moment of Solo where he gets his name. I understand. I didn't want that. But then now it's there. The look on Alden's face is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me.
That's who I am, and I'm going to make it mean something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great.
Just the dynamic between all of them.
All three of them, yes.
And even Chewie.
Yeah, that patience. I remember like looking forward to getting to an age where I could feel like Obi-Wan, where like, I understand the mistake you're making. It's no big deal, but don't do that right now.
Right.
You're looking forward to get to the, I've had enough of this.
That age of like, yes, I've made that mistake 27 times, so I can recognize it in another younger human.
We're not fighting anymore. I love Obi-Wan's look there.
Yeah. I like Obi-Wan thinking like, man, these stormtroopers are idiots but compared to Cody.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. But
that's right.
Yeah.
I've always been obsessed with the way his mouth kind of slightly hangs open, and he's always like, to sell your Camry. I'm never coming back to Burbank. All right.
Yeah. The sound of the Huttese has always just blown my mind. Where does Greedo rank for you, Jennifer? Do you like Greedo?
I like Greedo. I like that. I believe it was Stuart Freeborn did a Bird's Eye Pea commercial, and it was like an alien in the commercial. So George really liked the way the alien looked, and so Stuart repurposed it and added all those little things onto the head and the suction cups to make it into Greedo.
Really?
But that, I believe, was one of the first things that George was like, yeah, I want that in Star Wars.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because for all the stories of how much George was dissatisfied with it, Greedo is great.
Greedo's great.
And here we go.
I mean,
the final iteration is they shoot at the same time.
Yeah.
And Greedo's a terrible shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with it.
I don't feel like it changes the intent, from Solo's perspective, and I think it is a great payoff of the movie Solo. Great by itself if you're not a fan of Solo, but just the like, yep, I know he's going to shoot me, and I'm going to shoot first.
Exactly.
It is Modi, huh?
Yeah. Villain who's actually kind of coming up with the plan and moving the plot forward.
Absolutely. One of the things I think was forgotten over time in our childhood and our fervor to love Vader.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not the best competence from the stormtroopers there.
Yeah.
That's possible.
But hey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Beep, beep. You watch your language. So great.
Yeah.
He swears.
He does.
I love that big, I think it's Weosley, the weirdo that Luke sells his speeder to.
Oh, yeah. Very He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
All right.
And guy with hat in the background there, just going fishing, I guess.
Oh, boy.
All right.
All right,
Oh, boy.
Jennifer,
Here we go.
your most challenging scene, right?
This is my most,
Of Star Wars.
This is your slug, man. You love this guy.
I love Jabba, and I don't love this scene.
And yeah, we've got many Rhodians all wearing similar outfits to Greedo.
It's just unnecessary. We already got this information
Yeah.
from Greedo.
Yeah. But I do like the guy with the weird hat.
It's definitely better in this version.
It's better than the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CGI is better. Yeah. Yeah.
stepping on the tail, it's just a little too comical.
Too wacky. Do you
It's
feel like
too wacky.
Do you feel like it's like Jabba and Han's relationship changes too much in this interim, where
Yes.
he goes from like, all right, I like you enough, you can step on my tail, to frightening in Return of the Jedi.
I think that's absolutely what it is. Here he's kind of like, like not a mob guy, but like in Jedi, he's like the Godfather.
Right.
Here he's like, just some kind of guy who has a cantankerous relationship with Han.
Yeah. And how we feel about the Boba Fett shot.
It's all right. It's fine. Like, I was waiting for years to see that scene, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of the appeals of special edition. So it's fine. It doesn't take me out of it.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me because
do?
I kind of like setting up that Boba Fett and Han for sure know one another and have a relationship of some kind.
Right,
They're really aware of one another in this world.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them do it now. I want another edition.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. Find a way to cut around it.
Yeah.
Maybe he walks in front of Jabba.
They could do it. I know they could do it.
Oh, change it so he's interacting with Boba Fett?
Not Boba Fett, no, just goes, instead of walking on Jabba's tail, maybe he goes to the front and we just cut away.
Right, right. And then actually just making Jabba look
Hey, there's those dice.
a little more real.
Yeah, we saw the dice. In another good, random thing in A New Hope that never follows up on, that Chewie appears to need to be topless to fly the Falcon. He takes his bandolier off.
You're right.
Never does that again.
It took me years before I realized that was a 94 on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Hold that gun a little tighter, huh?
Yeah.
But that look of shock on his face, he's such a great action actor.
He really is. Just to see that shot of him running in and to sync it up with Force Awakens.
Yeah.
JJ and his team did an amazing job capturing the look and feel of that door area.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite music.
Yeah. And this stretch, I feel like we're really getting into that adventure serial cliffhanger that so inspired Lucas, of like, oh, he's in trouble at the cantina. Oh, he's in trouble taking off. Oh, now he's in trouble as soon as he does take off.
Right. Absolutely. 2 Star Destroyers. Mm-hmm.
I like thinking about Obi-Wan, if in canon right now, he hasn't left Tatooine that we know of.
Right.
And this is the first time, like, I'm back out there, back in a ship, back being shot at.
Blast, I hate flying.
Exactly.
It's like so annoying, little brother.
Yeah.
What's that?
That kind of role is so fun to play. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to be able to play that kind of like, just that energy of like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Are you doing that right? I don't think you're doing that right. It's just a fun thing to feel.
Poor Cushing couldn't wear his slippers there.
Not in that shot.
Yes.
Now he's comfy.
Yeah.
You can see it in his performance
Yeah.
that he's wearing slippers. No.
Making fun of me, I see. Huh? Affecting your accent.
How do you feel, Jennifer, about the Claudia Gray made the sort of canon patch that Leia was mocking Tarkin in this scene?
Oh, right. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, what I was just thinking right now is just thinking the dialogue is very much reminds me of like a movie from the 40s.
Yeah.
That kind of quick banter.
The mid-Atlantic dialogue.
Right,
Yes,
exactly. That's what
yes.
it really reminds me of.
Yeah, you
Very-
get the sense that Cary Grant could saunter in and have some opinions about this situation.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something, Tarkin.
You talk a big game.
What do you think about that, Tarkin? Huh?
Yeah. Man, Cushing's great, man. Just love
Yeah.
him.
And that shot of her backing into Vader, it really does.
it's bloodline, right? That goes into the
her memories of this,
of his grip, Vader's grip
on her shoulder, holding her. Yeah, that grip is.
Nope, you're gonna watch this.
Yeah. When you start thinking through, there's a lot of stuff in A New Hope where like really bad things happen, and then everyone walked out of this film in the 70s going like, it's just a fun lark, good versus evil. Yeah, aunt and uncle are skeletons, and they blew up an entire planet. But like to me, it's such a lesson in there's that difference between what happens in a film and how the story is told, and you're encouraged to just go along on the adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
And shout out to Madeline Rue and her story Eclipse in that from a certain point of view, which the final moments of Brea and Bale.
Yeah, where they can see it coming. Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah. I also love Obi-Wan's perspective here. We're just like, all right, let's start training now.
Yeah. Time is of the essence.
Waited 19 years.
And that's one of those shots where you can say Chewie has a mustache. He's got a mustache.
As a creature fan, do you like the Dejeric creatures?
Oh, yeah. I think it was Phil Tippett that designed those, right? And I believe George had it in his office for a long time.
Oh, the models?
Yeah, that's what I believe Phil Tippett said. It made him feel very proud.
Oh, that's really cool.
That look.
I just love that almost all of his roars are subtitled "Arg."
Right.
Arg. We were watching with the subtitles for.
Yeah. Those pillows, bags up there in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what
They
is?
look like pillows.
I think Han's smuggling packing peanuts. It's nice.
Yeah, it's like he's one of those, Amazon white van delivery trucks that show up at 8 o'clock.
This is definitely some of this was never filmed to be in this high def, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. Or never intended to have people like us go through each frame. And go,
Right.
And, what's he got there?
I've watched this 500 times. I'm going to find something new on the 501st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is Richard to me with The Force Awakens of Han becoming the mentor who in the same space is like, no, here's the deal. It's real.
Yeah,
Right.
almost literally the same spot, right? I mean,
Yeah, very close. This is one of the things that my few things that bug me is the lightsaber color is just not consistent in this scene. I mean, Lucas, bless his heart, added more rocks in front of R2, so he looks like he's hiding more in that Jawa scene.
Yeah,
but the saber is not made consistently blue.
No,
right?
It
I'm not
almost
nuts.
looked like yellow
no,
at one
it's
point
it's
there.
white, yellowish. Yeah, light blue, the best case scenario.
So there you go. So people who think I'm too positive, I complained about a thing.
Yeah.
I thought about that line all the time as I did different things in life, and it was tried to mark like, all right, this is a new adventure.
And you spoke earlier about, you can't always intentionally create an iconic moment. And that's an iconic line. That's just a little bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
So many. There's so many of those.
Oh, I think this is where Vader keeps gesturing after he's done talking. Yep. So great. So great.
You're right. It is a bad movie.
I have something more to say, but I forgot what it was.
Who talks with my hands, I can relate.
Well, my best friend's Italian. I can tell you those hands are always moving when he talks.
And sometimes after they stop, like Vader. Yeah. Excuse me.
Good.
I hit the mic with some whiskey.
Yeah, that's perfect for us. I like that Luke's like, well, ask them. Maybe they know what's happened. Let's text them.
Slide into their DMs.
Oh, that TIE fighter noise.
Yeah.
Is that the first time we're really... No, we heard it earlier.
There's some establishing shots, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Obi-Wan is talking to Han like he used to talk to Anakin. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, just wait. No big deal.
I think as a kid, I bought that line. Was like, oh, this guy's lost. Okay.
It happens. And I would say that's a line that's is one of those ones that we've just fallen in love with because it's in this movie that we love, right?
Right. And it's been memed to death. But I still love it.
Yeah. I think it's partially just the weight of his delivery of realizing, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That is actually terrifying. Some more Jedi philosophy we see echo out throughout the saga. I wonder if Luke even thought of hearing Obi-Wan say that when he made his decision on what to do by force projecting to Crate.
Mm-hmm. The subtitle popped up on our screen. I thought it was like a in-story subtitle. This is Clear Bay 327. This is King's Landing. Or
yes.
Lamu or whatever.
Oh, right.
This is where we are now.
The beauty of that model shot.
Yeah.
Doesn't change.
Yeah, like your dad said, I mean, that Star Destroyer at the beginning is iconic, but it's so great to think of people in the 70s just being gobsmacked by every shot.
Oh, yes.
Elevators up from nowhere. I love that.
Yep.
I mean, I get there's other levels there.
Yeah.
It's just this big hole in the ground.
Yeah. And one of the true beginnings of Star Wars anti-rail policy.
Oh,
Absolutely.
boy, yes.
In Legends, this Imperial officer was a Jedi. Okay.
Now,
he doesn't say when.
He doesn't say when. Yeah,
Right.
so it could be a couple years ago if there's When I saw the special edition in the theater in 97, everybody laughed at how quickly he turned after finishing his thought, and it made me angry.
It made you angry?
I got mad at the audience.
Oh, I laughed. There's something kind of dramatic about it. Comically dramatic.
It's like he was just saying really practical things, giving instructions to everybody about what to do to his underlings, and then says a weird mystical thing and turns quickly. I understand now why people laugh. It's fun for me to reflect that how I had gotten to a point of taking Star Wars very seriously.
Sure.
And I have come around.
I've been there.
I've been there too, man. Doing that too. I just love that this clunky machinery clearly made in a Van Nuys warehouse
Right.
is the scanner device.
Those boxes, that's another just like, okay, that's not what boxes look like in Star Wars, and it's going to be here forever. It's in Rebels. It's in video games. It's just Star Wars box.
Yep.
Forever, because somebody designed it that way in the mid-'70s.
New from Kenner, Star Wars
box.
I'd buy one.
I would, actually.
And the old Star Wars riddle was at the Stormtroopers shooting because they don't have any blaster marks, so it can't be Han shooting them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I grew up thinking they shot him, but I don't think they could have.
Narratively, it sounds like it,
Yeah.
but then there's no blaster marks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely one of the scariest shots of Chewie.
Yes.
Yes.
I've always thought the speed at which this door shuts is terrifying.
Oh, yeah. It's so great.
Like,
Oh, yes.
I think one of those miniatures series that they had in the early 80s had a spring-loaded Death Star door that
Yeah.
shut that fast, and I thought it was so cool. I spent hours just shutting the door
Are
to
you
the
talking
Death Star.
about the Kenner micros?
The Kenner micros, yeah.
You're right.
And this has become a very important little moment in canon, radiating out in different directions, because Obi-Wan says he should be able to interpret the whole Imperial system. And from modern Obi-Wan's perspective, it's like, yeah, because R2's used to work with this system.
Right.
He knows it. And then going forward, this is where R2 allegedly picks up the map that the Empire has been working on, trying to find Octu.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So a lot going on in that
going on.
one little computer moment in A New Hope, if
Right.
you want to go all those places.
There's some stakes.
It's so great.
That's kind of it.
I know.
They don't see each other. I mean, he sees Ben at the end, but
yeah.
Yeah.
and this is the scene I've most remembered with Peter Mayhew actually saying the dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's so great.
I love that Han leans into Chewie.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Like,
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, that level of comfort and that level of like, I kind of sometimes ignore Chewie, but he's also like literally everything to me, to the point where I just can lean up on him. He's always there for me, to the point where I can lean up against him.
It's just great.
We've showered after Mimban together.
And that's how your relationship starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the old Foss line has always been great, but it's also just insane to remember. Alec Guinness is in his mid-50s.
Oh, my goodness.
He's around the same age as Keanu Reeves in John Wick Chapter 3.
That's crazy.
The detail on those boots, man. Again, I'm fascinated with boots in this
Yeah.
Blu-ray edition.
It's
Yeah.
it's a whole new world of boots and thread count in the Blu-ray.
It always reminds me of Spaceballs.
It does, yeah.
What part of Spaceballs?
This whole scene about she's rich, you know, she's a princess.
Okay.
I've always loved that.
Yeah. Such a great line. They're just both such clearly drawn characters.
Yeah.
And for all the ups and downs that happened to get this movie made, it's so awesome that they're so clear.
Yeah.
It's so funny that, this is obviously the first time I saw this, and then every time I'd see it pop up in like things like Doctor Who that were filmed before, the idea of like fake a prisoner.
Right,
And think
right.
like, oh, wow, Star Wars didn't invent that?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching a TV show yesterday where there's like, let's do a Wookiee maneuver. And now that's just what that means.
Oh.
That's a great Chewie moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You had discussed that on Star Wars Ranked, right?
Yeah, I love that because it is just kind of a little bit of a whimsy
Yeah.
in a good way.
Some railings there. I'll give him credit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's too
Thank
high up.
goodness.
Yeah,
There.
maybe the officers get railings.
Yeah. There you go. An underrated music moment for Williams too. I mean,
Yeah.
but he's selling it. That's why Lucas considers him the secret sauce of Star Wars.
Right, because it's not a big main theme, but it
Yeah.
is just that subtle tension of how is this going to work out.
Exactly.
Just patrolling. Just stormtroopers patrolling.
My relationship with Star Wars music is also informed about which bits are used for waiting screens on video games. So you hear them a lot and associate them with, like, that's the Rogue Squadron waiting noise.
So true.
You know, they faked being prisoners before.
Yeah. I like how Han does just seem to kind of be wrestling with, like, how do I want to handle this situation? Do I want to get involved or not? Such great delivery.
Yeah. Some day player, not sure of what he's shooting.
Yep. I've always loved that guy keeps his arm behind his back. Like he's going to keep his proper posture even while trying to shoot for his life.
Right.
Such a great Imperial moment.
I've always loved the shooting of the cameras. And it's...
Yeah.
There's a lot of cameras too.
Yeah, I think I went through and counted them studying for one of the trivia contests at one point.
I believe it.
And one of the best comedy moments in Star Wars coming up.
Absolutely. It's the scrunch on the face.
Oh, I love it.
It's that idea to say, ask how are you, and then realizing it's idiotic the second he says it.
That is so. I see Alden Ehrenreich's performance.
Right.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, and just man, does that solidify Han's character that it's not enough to turn it off; he shoots it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, did you call me on the phone instead of texting me? I'm going to shoot my phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy. So great.
That's a lot of information.
So earnest.
Yeah, and Ben Kenobi, that's such a big deal to her. And, that's an underestimated shot, I think, just for Lucas as a director, too. The way Luke steps into that frame, and it's just slightly lowered, so it's got, like, I'm stepping into my destiny. It's a hero shot.
Yes, exactly.
The fire has gone out of the universe. So great. That voice sounded a little laid back.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's always just been cool, and you get the sense that there's some kind of connection between the two. But, with all the other storytelling built up, man.
Yeah. I've always felt bad for that stormtrooper.
Yeah. I mean,
Poor guy.
he pulled a short straw or else was being real cocky to
Right.
be in the front of the line. I love all the clips of the troubleshooting that where, like, they stumble and their belts
Oh
fall
my
off and, like,
gosh.
oh, those poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that R2's looking back at him.
That big dent in 3PO's head.
Yeah.
Stormtroopers have not been trained how to deal with locks at all.
Yeah.
She's right.
I think that's when
Yeah, this is so
was
great.
exciting.
real Carrie kicks in. At
Yes.
Somebody has to save our skins.
Love it.
And she knows what that is. She knows her stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who is in this world. He knows when Chewie's brave and when he isn't. That look of tension on Luke's face, too, where you're reminded, like, I wanted adventure and excitement.
Right.
But now, oh, damn.
Yeah.
People are shooting at me.
Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
I love it. Chewie's already been pushing.
Using his big Wookiee strength.
That look, too.
Jeez.
Yeah, that
love
needs to be
that look.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Luke tried that the moment he hit the ground. Let's say that. All right.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was very fast.
That's right. It could be worse.
Yeah.
We're being shot at.
Probably spent too much time as a kid studying what was the trash.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's such world building to be like, what does the Empire throw out and why?
Yeah. Well, to me, that was a kid that were Leia's by like an X-wing, S-foil.
Oh, yeah.
And there's trash water. This is my nightmare.
It really is.
Yeah, this is pretty gross. And being, letting you know that it smells bad, too. Yeah. Oh, the eye always freaked me out in a good way.
Once at my old job, I jumped into a trash compactor to look for something, and I tried to think it was as cool as this scene. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I love that this is just this fun pulp adventure serial. They're having an adventure. They're bonding as characters, but then it does have this very old mythic feel to it.
Right.
Down in the belly of the beast, and you don't know what's under there as you're entering the world and you're encountering horrors, and you don't even know what they are. You're just being pulled underneath.
Monsters lurking beneath the trash water.
Oh.
Yeah. And if George R. R. Martin wrote this, Luke would just now be dead.
Yeah.
Luke would be dead.
That'd be the big twist.
Yeah, his head would have been ripped off by the tentacle.
The Dianoga eats Luke.
Well,
and in theory, Luke's lightsaber is jammed into his armor somewhere.
right? Yeah, that's true. In that little pack, that little what I think's a towel is actually a carry-all.
It's a dice bag in case they want to play D&D. That's what it is, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Never thought about that.
Yeah, I've never thought about that one until this viewing either.
Yeah, unless he left it on the Falcon.
Maybe he has it later.
Later, right? Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I think you see it on his belt a little later here. Yeah, I mean, it's not criticizing Luke. It's new to him. You wouldn't naturally think, like, I'm going to use that to cut the door open.
Right. If only Obi-Wan had taught him what Qui-Gon had done.
Did that Trade Federation door, yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
The bump, but who was it?
Who was it?
We're still waiting for Jamie Stangroom's documentary, Empire
That's
Strikes
right.
Yeah.
Dawn. He's working on finishing that.
Never really studied those orange circles in the background either. Red orange, I guess.
Yeah. Someone's like, grab like a strainer, grab 12 of them, and glue them to this wall.
Yeah. Everybody brings something from home. We're gluing things to the wall today.
Yeah. Whistle bleep bleep. That's a great read by 3PO.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's easy to make fun of the stormtroopers, but I also like the idea that they're just kind of been conscripted. They joined the military because they don't have any other great choices. They're not treated particularly well, and they're just sort of like, I keep my head down and try not to make any mistakes so nobody yells at me or God forbid, kills me. And other than that, I'm not invested in my work.
No.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The idea that they don't know what they're chasing. They just think,
Yeah, is this another drill I think is coming up? Yeah.
And isn't it, I think Lost Stars, Claudia Gray kind of helps establish that they don't even know, some didn't even know that they blew up Alderaan. They're like,
Yeah.
you know.
That really, yeah. Word is, yeah.
Not, not excusing the actions of the stormtroopers.
No.
It's just their job, but there's something fascinating about that to me.
Yeah. Whistle, blip, beep. He's basically talking like DJ in The Last Jedi. Blip, bloppity bloop.
Hasbro finally released their 6-inch Black Series Luke with wet hair in Stormtrooper.
Yeah. Luke post Dianoga encounter. I think he has like some marks on the armor, right?
He does.
So amazing to think of these actors doing this, not knowing what this was going to be.
Right.
Not being able to fully visualize it. It's a really successful joke to me.
It is.
So many funny moments.
If you're studying that line, just remember the cadence in which Han says
3, 2, 6, 3, 8, 2, 7. Is it Luke? Who says it?
I thought Han says it to him, but maybe you're right.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He
Reads it to him.
reads it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Luke's repeating there.
So in Hardware Wars,
Yes.
I always remember when Augie Ben Doggy turns off the tractor beam, and it cuts to a cartoon farmer on a tractor. I think at some point I thought that was actually in the movie.
It's weird. Those early memories just melt together. I think this is one of the minor changes where he changed the text on this stuff to Orabesh.
Yeah.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah. Which, that makes sense. Oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Hey,
boy.
watch it,
Hello.
Han.
Yes. Because you're doing so well on your own there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look.
That's a great look from Hamill. I never really noticed it.
Yeah.
Over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's a good gif of like, come on.
Mm-hmm. You could see right there why Harrison is so great. Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that one little look from Luke while he's looking around a corner, I think of that every time I look around a corner, like try to look around the corner before I turn. Like, just the way this movie has gotten into my mind and body is so weird.
Right.
Maybe it's another drill. Nobody tells me nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here we go. I love that force ability too. Of like, what did he do? Did he just throw noise, or did he flip a switch?
Yeah.
Did he knock somebody over there?
I love that Lucas, puts the VT-16 dialogue in there. Following up to what you said, but hey, they're just doing their on shift for the day.
Yeah.
Don't know that the fate of the galaxy is currently being decided.
Yeah.
Han just runs.
Yeah, and she is definitely thinking about him there, isn't she?
Yeah, she has a little lingering shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Lingering
one
look.
of this is one of the changes I like too, of putting in even more troopers.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
It's a great Chewie moment. Wow,
Yeah. Oh
come
boy.
on.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Good echo. Good echo.
Yeah. And all of this, you can just this whole section, you can just see how it is so captures a kid's mind to play on the playground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Just act it all out. John Williams helped him with that idea music score there.
you're right. The constant, trouble, solution, trouble, adventure, trouble, like you talk about, Joseph. It's so...
The adventure serial roots are so clear in here,
very clear.
And that's part of what I like about Solo, is Solo does have a little bit more of that energy.
That's why when people talk about like, oh, I want my Star Wars to be gritty or dark, this and that, you go back to this, the original. It's like it's all adventure and fun and and humor.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, it's got that gritty stuff.
Yeah,
it's there, and if you kind of want to dive in and meditate on it, but the movie isn't spending a lot of time with like characters crying in the rain kind of vibe.
Right, it doesn't linger on that.
So John Cusack romantic comedy.
I love the contrast between this youthful adventure of them running around, and it's kind of exciting, even though it's scary. Yeah. And then there's just that weight and inevitability between Obi-Wan and Vader, and you got that sense of an old battle coming full circle.
That mostly blue astromech droid pops up a lot. He gets around the Death Star. One in the background there.
I've always loved that, too, the jumping through the door.
There we go.
And he's, such a great shot. And that does tie up well to Rogue One.
You're absolutely right. 100%. Down to the placement of the blade. And
it's even some great sort of Sith Jedi mechanics that Vader's blade is already up.
Yes.
He's gonna fight. And Obi-Wan's only turning his on because, that's what we're gonna do.
That's what we're doing. That's why I definitely thought that was his name.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Why not?
This sequence, if you watch it without the sound effects, and without the editing, it just seems kind of sad. It's just two men with these sticks, clink, clink.
Little dodge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But boy, the editing and the sound effects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and the commitment from the actors, obviously.
Yeah, I think, Alec Guinness sells it to me, and I know like there's fan videos of what if it's more exciting and all that kind of stuff. But there's so much about the testing, and I think Obi-Wan knows that he's old, he's a little weaker. Yeah, he hasn't faced him forever.
Right.
For Anakin Vader, the last time he faced him, he got messed up real bad. Yeah. So I like that there's a little bit element of let's see what each other is going to do. Right. Like that.
Yeah.
Just like I'm just kind of testing you.
Always love that direct looking down the lightsaber angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost seems like Obi-Wan is just trying to irritate
Vader. Well, it's like Obi-Wan. I just got to stay alive long enough to get this.
Yeah, long enough to get them away. That's all I care about. Is like, from his perspective, right? He's just like,
it's as if, and I'm not saying this is in there, but it's as if Vader was paying attention, he could see that Obi-Wan's like just holding on.
Yeah,
but Vader's like, I got you. I got him.
Yes, I have wanted this. He's a Sith. He wants revenge. Yeah. Right. And all Obi-Wan wants is to keep this guy and, in theory, Leia safe.
It's time.
Yep.
What?
The beginning of all the great no's in Star Wars.
Yes.
And down the railingless shaft.
Hey, look, at that point, that's probably the first time Anakin's really seen that, right?
Absolutely. I think Vader thought Obi-Wan was just playing with him at the more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And then I kind of like that as a victory for Obi-Wan, too, after being Anakin's master forever, Vader failing him, and Vader just going like, he did it again. I have no idea what he did, what happened. And he clearly doesn't, because he says later, Obi-Wan can no longer help you. So, like, one last victory for Obi-Wan there, where Vader's just clueless. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this, Jennifer? Where, and people have talked about it a lot, where Leia takes the time to comfort Luke, even though she has suffered huge losses.
I think it speaks a lot to who she is as a character, and I don't want to say like her leadership, but in some ways, yeah, that she can be emotionally strong and present for others.
Yeah,
that's what leaders do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's definitely, and that keeps coming back into all the new stuff with Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that she handles her grief in her own time. She stays
Privately.
present for what needs to be done. Yeah.
Right.
And I still sometimes struggle with the mechanics of these guns.
Like how they work, where they are,
well, like
just the spatial logic.
Yeah, I know they climb up and down, but you just got to go with it.
I think it's there. Obviously, there are cross-section books or that, but like just in real life, the way the sets have been built, like the interior to the exterior of the Falcon just doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
and you have to accept that.
Yeah. I think there's been some interviews or commentary about that too from some of the folks.
Yeah.
I go to Solo. I love Beckett and Finn does it too in Force Awakens, but this constant theme of trying to learn to use those guns.
Yes.
Also, one of my favorite comedy lines.
Oh yeah.
It gives the Falcon so much personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Falcon could choose
Right.
whether or not.
Editing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also just like the evolution of action in Star Wars from the way the films were released to like taking down this handful of ties is this epic adventure. And then even by Return of the Jedi, just like Falcon flies along and blows TIE fighters apart, no problem.
Yeah, you're so right. I love that those TIE fighters seem to almost be tumbling through space as they fly around.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good action actor. And made his throat sweaty.
Yeah.
Sorry about the wire scene, Ken. I'm sure you're feeling anxiety from that shot.
I like that it's sometimes whistle blip beep and whistle beep blip. Oh, plot twist.
Yeah, and that comes up sometimes in questions that they literally put a physical homing beacon on.
Right. Yeah, Leia's got the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And
cocky.
Dummy. Just keep thinking about that. I think it was Carrie Fisher talking about how Lucas, even back here while making the movie, told her, this is your rebellion. You get these kind of two, dummies flying around the galaxy, naive and cocky.
Yeah.
This is your revolution.
Yeah, you're leading this. You know what's going on. Oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's partially just the delivery and the fact that the Leia doesn't appear to answer that we can see.
Yeah.
It's like
his little hand going for
Yeah.
raising his hand to no one calling on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Han gets to be the older, wiser one.
Yeah. I did not like Han as a kid.
Really?
Oh, really?
I did not. I was
Cocky?
annoyed. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was so cocky and mouthy and
Yeah.
disrespectful, and I didn't like that. I
Yeah.
always liked Luke.
That's good. You shouldn't go for the Hans.
Well, unfortunately, I did later on.
Well, we've all made
appreciate
some.
that, I guess.
I've gone for some Lady Hans. I understand.
Lady Hans.
I absolutely have. Yeah, well, you both saw Return of the Jedi first, so how did that like little love triangle fun scene play for you? Were you like confused of like as kids, like why does Luke seem so into her?
Yeah.
I look at that Y-wing. Jennifer, you told the story of kind of having a weird version in your head of when you saw Phantom Menace first, and you had at one point realize.
Yeah.
I definitely saw Return of the Jedi, New Hope, Empire was the order I saw it as a kid, but I saw it as such a close time that I can no longer remember what I felt.
Exactly.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
It all melds together.
I was 7. It's like it all seemed like one big thing that I remember. Empire was the last one I hadn't seen, and I begged my mom to, I want to see Empire, but it all played out normally. And look, Yavin is the way I say. I know part of fun of Star Wars is saying things different.
Yavin, right?
Yeah.
People say
Yavin.
There's those same plans Dooku had on Geonosis.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. Finished up. The beginning of the plans. He had the concept statement on Geonosis.
There is a continuity error in here. I'm trying to remember. One of the pilots or something.
Oh, like jumps around?
Jumps around.
Yeah.
In this background there. Is Luke still? Yeah, Luke's still in his Tatooine gear there, huh?
Oh.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Or else that's a lookalike.
Yeah.
Somebody else is just like, I just got out of there. Oh, no. Yeah,
Okay.
there he is.
Dutch Vander.
I love how much Han's taken in. Like, oh, boy.
State of the art.
This is just so great.
All right, calm down, kid. Calm down.
And yet, I love how this is constructed because it works well for this film, and I think it works so well going forward. It's Leia asking the Jedi to come back. Your only hope. Oh, here's a new hope. It's Luke, and all building towards this shot can't be made unless you're Force sensitive.
Right.
And that's the way I choose to read it. Obviously Luke does use the Force to make the shot. Ultimately, and like maybe somebody could have got lucky, but I love the idea of like after everything that everyone suffered in Rogue One, everybody contributed in this movie. It needed Luke to make that shot. He's extra mad now that I stepped on his tail. He's got that soft spot for orphans.
Yeah.
Young kids.
Fair.
Ooh, burn.
Luke burn. You got Skywalkered. And I love this little interaction. Ken, you've talked about this one on our Peter Mayhew appreciation.
Yeah. The idea of now we, especially in the Infant Nest stuff, of Chewie like, man, you're running away again, huh?
Chewie kind of mumbling at him like, oh, you doing this again? You doing this again? Yeah.
Right.
I've always just liked the energy of that cut, too. If I know what I'm doing in a turn and cut.
Yeah.
One of the many little things that gives the movie a feeling of being dynamic.
Mm-hmm. You mean Obi-Wan?
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And I really like this scene being added back in myself.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we don't have the earlier scenes with Biggs.
Right. Turned around
He's
quickly.
got
Okay.
And that's, of course, we've all seen the version of him talking about his father, too, that they didn't want to put in.
And that is Garvin Dave Drace, right?
That is. Good old Dave.
Garvin Dave Drace, who I believe the actor also appears on Cheers at some point.
Oh.
Does he? Wow.
Yeah.
The Cheers Star Wars connection is strong.
It runs deep. Now the circle is complete.
See, they like each other.
Yeah, I mean, this whole little section here is so great to, kind of the setting up the emotional stakes between all the characters of who is going to do what and why.
Right.
Again, I think it's valuable that, much like you have Rose Tico now, you got folks who joined the rebellion to refuel and prep fighters.
Yep.
And that's needed.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Lots of fueling people.
Yeah.
It's also just remarkable. It'll be interesting to see if we ever see a movie or can see a movie, a Star Wars movie that is direct and linear as this. We're really...
Right.
Leia is present and has a character, but she's on a straight line. We are really, right now, we are following what will Luke do, what will Han do. It's one battle. The only place we have to cut to is other people watching the battle.
The battle, yeah.
Right.
It's so straightforward and linear, and it gives it a lot of punch, and it's not, in general, the way we tell stories in big blockbuster movies now.
Yeah, there's an expectation of more and twists and this and
Stakes,
that.
yeah.
And that's fine, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like The Rise of Skywalker, look at all the characters we want to follow.
Yeah.
Right.
And we want to have their own individual arc that pays off.
Right.
Oh, Jack Tono Porkins. Yeah.
Love that line. Love that line.
Yeah.
It's a Star Wars tradition, right?
Yeah.
Love that there's a magnetic field.
Yeah, the S-lock, S-foil's in attack position. I feel like it's just got that great energy of like, we're all going to do something. And also it sounds so real. Like,
Yeah.
S-foils. Cool. Jennifer, in all of your various loves of Star Wars, where does like a big space battle like this rank for you?
This one is a fun one. I love the one in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
The opening sequence.
Yeah.
That's a great space battle for me. But this one is just so iconic and there's so much nostalgia wrapped up into it.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, it is interesting. We don't see Luke training. He may have been hitting some warp rats and, he might have had some people vouching for him. But, why should we believe that he's going to do this?
Yeah, Obi-Wan
Isn't
says...
it kind of a Gary Stew? Sorry, I had to throw that in.
No, it's fine.
I mean, but really, like, we don't see any sort of...
Yeah, Obi-Wan says he's heard he's a good pilot.
Right.
And then Biggs vouches for him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there's also... It's a different... It's not a place to get into now of just a conversation too. When I was texting with Alex Damon, we were talking about the Empire Strikes Back special edition of Lucas had some extra footage, so hey, we'll throw in Vader getting back there, but it's like from Bespin to the Star Destroyer. Nowadays, people would be like, "How did Vader get back there?
Right.
How did he show up back up there?" And there's desire to have every moment explained or seen.
That's exactly it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Good storytelling. Trust the audience to fill in some dots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some blanks.
That's
And then,
the fun.
Yeah, and that's the discussion is, I think that's where plot hole originally came from. Is like, is that too big of a thing for us to fill in?
Right. Yeah, in my head canon, there's definitely a moment of them giving Luke the controls to the X-Wing.
Right.
Yeah, we know simulations are a thing
Yeah.
in Star Wars. Did they? I think there might be something in from a certain point of view about that of him having a simulation test. I can't remember right now.
But I've always been a real kid at heart. Whenever I watch a movie, even now, if they tell me something, I'm gonna believe it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so yeah, they think that he can do it.
Yeah,
Sure.
We're in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch this and really think through and track. Like Luke wants adventure. He gets adventure. He's scared by adventure in a couple of his reaction shots. in the Death Star, but then is still volunteering to do this.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to do it. I got to do it.
Those two pilots were just waiting, huh?
Yeah, I think they must have
like
been he was like, before that, he was like, stand in this hallway, wait.
Yeah, like I interpret this, they're his personal wingman.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've always loved that little light, too, tracking it.
Right.
Just like, and it's so funny with all these technical readouts that just kind of like look cool and you can tell they're strategic, but especially when this was made, there was no thought to be like, we have to explain every one of these lines.
Right.
Nice.
Beautiful. Thanks, Wedge. You got it.
Oh, the Y-Wings. The Y-Wings are very cool.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the wing people.
The wingman. Yeah, that's right. They get you people. We don't know who's in there.
Go this.
Somewhere Eidenverse show is flying around. I love that guy. Is that Pops?
Yeah.
Pops, yeah.
It's just the sound of that when they switch back and forth, even midline between, are you listening to the person, are you listening on radio? And again, it's so real and evocative.
Yeah, to your question of, what, where this ranks, or like, it still works for me on so many levels, even though Jedi surpassed it for me as a kid. And it is so simple and direct, and it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, the stakes have been set up. They seem so scrappy. It seems so impossible, such an incredibly long shot, and just the narrative of it all is set up so well, where you're watching the different runs. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of ambiguity here and there, but where it really matters, the spatial relationships are entirely clear.
Right. And yes, he does say Hutch.
They came from behind. Yeah,
The name is Dutch.
But give him a break. He misspoke right before he died.
Right.
I remember someone going off to me on Twitter one day when I said, it's definitely Hutch, but his name is Dutch.
Yep. And that's fine for me. He misspoke.
Yeah.
It's probably...
In the heat of the moment, it's understandable.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes it feel like very sort of practical and real. And obviously, I know they cut together actual like old movie war footage and stuff. But having that command station that's figuring out the tactics.
Right.
Yep. Always love that.
There's so many numbers in this sequence for trivia studying.
3 marks.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I love Dave Drace.
He's so great. He sounds so casual.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a beer with Garvin Dave Drace. And Vader was always scary here. Yeah. But once you get to know Anakin in the prequels, it's so hopeless for these people.
Yeah.
So close.
Just shook him around. Sounds so sad.
Yeah, what a disappointment.
But again, it goes to how well this is constructed as a narrative that we saw. He did everything right. It's not like he screwed up, right? It's just probably next to impossible for the computer to hit.
No.
Great music cue.
Yep.
Yeah, and
This is
soulful look from Hamill, his eyes.
Tarkin's wild hair. Bring it out there.
This shot.
You like the swooping in
This
shots?
to me
Yeah.
is like makes me feel like I'm there, if like I'm on a ride.
Right. Yeah. And just, I mean, back in the day, really showing off the technology that they figured out to have those motion control cameras.
Yes.
Like I'm getting pulled back into this now. Just I've seen this countless times.
And another credit to Mark Hamill, just like he is such a in a good way, like he's invested. He's playing. He's in this role,
Right.
Even though it's all silly. It's not silly, you know.
And you talk about Hermione Corfield as Tyler Lyncher and her cockpit acting, Joseph.
Yeah.
Hamill's got some.
He's got some great cockpit acting.
acting.
Yeah.
I've always loved that look on Vader's kind of looking over real quick.
Yeah. He's like, oh man, I really want to shoot that one down too, but no, got to stay focused.
Has he got his cape on in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so.
I think so.
I don't think he leaves home without it. I mean,
That's not very practical.
It isn't. And
one of the mysteries of Star Wars.
yeah.
Yeah, so even for something that's like a feel-good, movie of the good guys beat the bad guys, it raises the stakes so much to just feel like, is he going to make it? Is he going to make it?
The editing, the pacing, the music, just perfect.
Yeah. Just the trust from Luke to be like, a dead wizard is whispering in my head, and I'm going to trust it.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust myself.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The look on the guy on the left.
Yeah,
like, we're dead, right?
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
not
Well, glad I recorded that hollow message for my loved ones because it's over for me.
Oh, the pain of Anakin taking out his best buddy for years.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that great tension. They're all gonna die. Everything is gonna end.
Music cues.
Yeah.
Music cues.
Luke dancing around.
No.
What?
That's it. One of Vader's best line readings,
Yes.
for
What?
sure. What?
And he spins off into a sequel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Breath of relief because he knows he did it.
That audio recording you can find online of the guy who recorded it in the theater in '77 of the crowd reaction.
Screaming.
Yeah.
I've always loved the cut from just that calm profile of, regal authoritarian Tarkin and then just gone.
Yep.
Yay.
Yay.
And this music cue is just catharsis and relief, right?
Yes.
It's really like, when you
out of here.
meet a writing deadline, that
Yeah.
music plays in your soul. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Leia running.
Yeah.
Remember for years people thought he said
Carrie. And he says, I think he's saying, hey, right?
Yeah.
That's probably true.
I just love all that youthful energy from them.
Yeah.
Oh, or two.
Oh.
Got to be some
Yeah.
ADR work there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get to work
We're
on
gonna right away. They just grab somebody off the street.
Yeah.
It's such a great design. We haven't talked much about the costumes, but John Mallow, right?
Yes.
The choice to be like, Luke's in the world now, and now he's got an awesome Han Solo-like look, and the legacy of that one damn jacket. Now in modern storytelling, with that's what Cassian wears, a jacket like that,
right.
you know?
Oh, no.
Right.
Jackets are important, man.
And I do want the scene where Chewie yelled at Han and said, "At least button up your shirt."
And he felt the need to do that. That's so true.
Yeah.
I always took it as Chewie telling everyone it's time to turn. When he,
absolutely.
As a kid, especially.
I think Chewie's directing this whole ceremony.
Jan Dodonna. I did want more of Jan Dodonna. Ian McElhenney plays him.
In Rogue One, right?
Rogue One. I was hoping more.
So shiny now. He's clean. Mm-hmm. They took their time to clean the droids.
And none for you, Chewie, but a little bit later.
Yeah, and it's so the whole ceremony thing is so great. But the movie's called A New Hope.
Yeah,
they need hope, and that's, to me, like, that's what this ceremony is about. Of like, look what we can do.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
And now I think about the Rise of Skywalker and that shot that we saw in the teaser.
Oh, with the metal,
The metal.
Yeah,
that's gonna be tough to watch.
Peace orb.
Yeah, absolutely. On the stairs and everything.
Yeah.
And Chewie, I think, gets the last little arg. Yep.
Which is the best.
Yeah. Yay. The fact that he turns back to me, that arg is like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Look what we did. So awesome.
Gary Kurtz.
Gary Kurtz.
Deserves a lot of credit, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
For what they pulled off. It's still crazy to watch this and think, how did they do this? No one on set obviously knew it.
Yeah.
He's shooting a dog.
Yeah.
Walking around.
Yeah. And it's
many doubts.
Amazing to think that Lucas could have he could have been like, cool, I did it. I made that Saturday afternoon adventure serial I wanted. And now I'm going to go back to now I want to do another little indie film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. Where do you think it would be if this was just like, oh yeah, remember that great movie Star Wars? Like,
oh yeah, that's what if
Lucas didn't want to do the sequels.
That alternate history is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been. Yeah, it just wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have been. It would have been a great historic moment. Oh yeah, some fans just see that film, but
yeah, I mean, I think
Empire just made it what it was.
Yeah, but like I think of Jaws and like, I'm not a Jaws expert. Has there ever been a super successful Jaws sequel?
No,
or at least not artistically. Maybe box office had some success.
Yeah, because by like 3 or 4, it's almost straight to video quality, right?
Yeah. It's fascinating to think about if it would live in like, oh yeah, of course, that's a seminal film. It's an important film,
right?
But it wouldn't have maybe changed everything. And now there might have been a lot of imitators, but it wouldn't be the same world we live in where anybody who touches Star Wars now, I think anybody who gets a job in Star Wars would probably sit down and watch this film and just go, which strands of this DNA am I going to pull out? Right. All from this like one movie.
And I think a lot of it absolutely ties back and should tie back to this film and the original trilogy, yes, but Joseph Johnstone, not Joe Johnston as we know now. Yeah, that's look, the toys and everything. I mean, it would have been a giant thing, but it would have faded away.
Yeah,
as far as a fandom.
Yeah,
it would have been in the history books, but
yeah, and it wouldn't. And instead, we have like every scene, every shot discussed and mined for other storytelling and video games and merchandising and logic and everything. It's just a mine.
Phil Brown.
He was George Lucas was such a visionary, and he really did create this world. But I think he was also emboldened by like bringing all these incredible people together to make this film. And then it was like, oh, this is possible. Let's keep pushing the boundaries of technology and visual effects. And I think that got him really excited and almost like obsessed, became an obsession.
Yeah, tech is his big obsession in a lot of ways. And see what ILM did and Dykstra and his crew in a Van Nuys warehouse, and the fact that it's one of the first things he wanted to do was like, hey, let's let's do something bigger with the special effects. Let's make it this thing, and that ignites him. That, to me, is part of it too. Lucas wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you're going, he's talked about this, or the crew has talked about this. He'd show up and say, okay, well, this is what we want to do. Figure it out. Mm-hmm. And they would figure it out. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Yeah. And
you go back to some of those even Phantom Menace videos where he's got the storyboards up and it's sinking into all of the various digital artists.
Right.
How much work there is. Yeah. And he's just like, I know, figure it out.
Yep. Yep.
Well, that story now that Dave Filoni's told of him coming up and George saying, I got a great idea. You're going to love it. Darth Maul is alive. How? I don't know. Figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is, there's debate of like, oh, yeah, it's George Lucas' vision, but all these other people. And to me, it's just like this great, beautiful, he did have a vision, and all of these other artists made sure it came true. And to me, it's just like this great teamwork.
Yep.
Great, like, everybody needs to help each other. And it couldn't be unless it was all these artists working together.
Mm-hmm.
You're a symbiotic circle, don't you see?
Exactly. And I love that it's still on the credits that we can call THX to complain about the sound quality if we need to. I watched this on my iPhone.
No.
The sound quality was poor.
Well, we did it. We watched A New Hope.
We did.
We watched New Hope. Where it all began.
And we talked almost the whole time.
I do start to get lost in all these. I as the THX logo plays over our ears here, you're not hearing that, but man, we always talk about it. This is what we do every week. We talk on ForceCenter. We write about it. We dream about it. But I still love it. And I get caught up in it every time I sit down to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I love that there are so many different perspectives to look at it. And Jennifer, you brought up so many good ones. Being you've done all of these great podcasts where you've really been a journalist about this and studied the behind the scenes. And you could go through and watch this movie and go, I'm just thinking about digital effects. I'm just thinking about costuming. You can go through and just go like, I'm just thinking about this specific theme and how it radiates out in Star Wars. And like, it just makes it so rich and so fun. Or you can just sit back and go, I want to have a big old fun adventure.
But like what you're pointing out, Joseph, is all the ways that it's tying to the larger canon. All these little tendrils, if you will, that's like reaching out to the books, the video games, Clone Wars, Rebels. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. You just go watch another random movie and go, imagine somebody else, this movie, somebody just picked high fidelity and then said, for the next 42 years, every decision made in high fidelity is going to, direct where we go. It's just, it's an interesting, artistic, weird, beautiful thing.
It's a little bit of force went into it.
Yeah.
It all seems to work out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's our commentary.
Yep.
We're going to sign out as we always do, but Joseph, we definitely want to thank our patrons for making this happen.
Absolutely. Look straight into the camera for this and everything. Eye contact, souls. Thank you so much for supporting us, for having a conversation on social media, but particularly on Patreon. It really does help us have the time and the resources to do these kind of things. So thank you for being there and for making this kind of fun stuff possible.
Absolutely. If you're catching this in video form and like, who are these folks? We're members who comprise the ForceCenter podcast feed. Joseph Scrimshaw, Jennifer Lander, Mika Nepsuk, and we do a lot of other things on our own. We're going to talk about that, but also our shows every week. We have the main show, we have our show Databank Brawl, Star Wars Ranked, Happy Beeps. We just celebrate and discuss Star Wars. Star Wars counseling, I can't forget, because Joseph, as someone described me recently, like, that's my favorite show. It's just Joseph pouring a scotch and talking to himself over tough things in Star Wars.
It's true.
Just give us a follow at ForceCenter Pod, like our Facebook page. The Patreon page is patreon.com/ForceCenter. ForceCenterPod.podomatic.net is our website. We have this YouTube channel here with some things on there, more coming. And then our own stuff. Joseph, you got a lot of things going on?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram is @Joseph Scrimshaw. I will tweet plenty of pop culture jokes and then other random opinions about life. And then for all of my various adventures, comedy shows, I have a comedy book and comedy albums. You can find that all on my website at josephscrimshaw.com.
And she once made a Gonk Droid costume and a lot of other costumes.
That's right.
Jennifer Landa.
That's right. I also made a Death Star costume and a Millennium Falcon costume. You can see some of those things on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Jennifer Landa, and my YouTube channel where I make all sorts of Star Wars videos because I love it. Jennifer Landa is my username. Easy to remember.
I like it. And you can go to ketknapsack.com for all my things, including my book, Why We Love Star Wars, my work on the Movie Trivia Schmodown, where I have been defeated by Joseph several times now. in Star Wars trivia. And Alex Damon. Check it out there. That's it for now. We're going to go watch some more Star Wars, and we'll be doing more of these commentaries down the line. Thanks, everyone.